recently still contributes a lot to our GDP. For instance, in 2023,
Yeah.
it contributed 21%
Okay.
to the country's GDP, although it has been dwindling for some time now, because in 2021 it contributed 24.17% to the GDP,
Okay.
and 2022 it contributed 23.67
Okay.
to the GDP, and it dwindled a bit. It dwindled a bit again. However, we are still in agriculture, and this issue of dwindling has been over time by the recent challenges we've been having. As we go on, we will mention these challenges. And Nigeria is about 923,000 square kilometers, and roughly about 36.9 million hectares of land are arable in Nigeria. I mean, 36.9 million hectares.
Okay.
And this is not inclusive of the 6.6 million hectares that are for permanent crops. That
Okay.
is those forestry reserved areas and all that. And the 25.2 million hectares that are for both permanent meadows and pastures
Okay.
across the country.
Yeah.
So you can't really do away with agriculture. So when you total the arable land in Nigeria, you're getting about 68.7 million hectares, which have crops in them, either for human consumption or for export or for utilization in different other sectors, because agriculture funds other sectors with raw materials. And we are coming to the agricultural value chain, which we had earlier discussed. The value chain of agriculture is quite enormous.
Okay.
They can almost be inexhaustive. Where are you starting from? Are you starting from the pre-planting?
Okay.
The people who even go into research in the first place in agriculture, people that are in agricultural education, people that do as much as informing the extension workers what even to do in the first place. Are you talking about people who are into input production, agricultural input production and services? Or are you talking about the production itself, which is what gives us food, gives us different kinds of food, both fish, the meat we eat, the honey we take, the dairy, milk, cheese, our eggs, the sugar, the chocolate. What are you talking about? Are you talking about also feed for animals?
Yeah.
Then, or production of animal skin, fur and leather, or will you go into clothing in terms of cotton production and other materials used in clothing? Or are you talking about fertilization of the soil and manuring? There are people who do that for a living. Are you talking about agro processing or agro storage or transportation and logistics? Or are you also talking about marketing? That is the trade and export. There are so many value chains. I want to also let you know that people even produce as much as venoms for, people breed snakes.
Oh, okay. I
and
think I saw that.
scorpions.
Yes. I think that's the most expensive fluid in the world
Of
right
course, yes, because when people produce these venoms, they are used in production of vaccines, anti-poison vaccines, and people even produce worms. Worms, yes, they are all in the value chain, and worms are good for microbial breakdown and even manuring. Okay, so there are lots of things you can talk about in agriculture. They are almost inexhaustive. So, and like we mentioned some time ago about agricultural risks. We don't mention these risks because of so that we can scare people from agriculture.
Exactly.
But for you to know the risks that are involved and how you are going to navigate and mitigate and manage these risks. Because in every occupation, there are risks that are attached to it. And agriculture in Nigeria, not only in Nigeria, in sub-Saharan Africa, people involve themselves in it a lot. For instance, in Nigeria, people that are involved in one way or the other in agriculture is about 60 to 70% of our population, and about 35% are gainfully employed in agriculture. And global average is about 28%. There are some countries, especially in the developed societies, where their employment is as low as 5%. But due to mechanization, they're able to feed their country. But in Nigeria, for instance, we have about 35% gainfully employed, fully employed, and over 60 to 70% participating in one way or the other. But yet we haven't attained that level of food security and agricultural efficiency in the way it is supposed to be. Because several of these risks pose serious challenges to agriculture. Now, if we discussed on these risks, there are several of them. Is it the marketing risk? The marketing risk talk about the market availability, the profit, the profit involved in agriculture. Whether what you are even going into, you will
make profit.
Exactly. Will you even break even within the shortest possible time? What is the extent to which you can recover the money you have plowed into it in the shortest possible time? Then we talk about international trade effects. Because, for instance, there may be trade wars in different countries or in different agricultural subsectors. But the utilization of your comparative advantage goes a lot in this. So these are the marketing risks you may likely face. Then you may also talk about the financial risks. And these risks are basically trying to source for the funds for agriculture, the rates for loans and facilities, whether there are even available credits in the first place. Then the utilization of these credits when they even come, because over time we've suffered facility fungibility in this country. People who may be given credits for farming, they will divert it to another different thing. Some people will go and take another chieftaincy title, marry another wife, and do other things with the money they were given specifically for farming. And this goes a long way to pose risks and challenges to our agriculture. Then we have human risk, the human factors, the errors associated to human beings, where people make errors that may affect agriculture in one way or the other. Before we now talk about the production risk itself, production risk, that is where the majority of the thing lies. Then we also talk about climate change,
which is one very important conversation.
Exactly. If you start talking about climate change and its effects, in fact, we'll talk about it for like one full month. We've not even finished. But we just have to touch them for us to have an idea what we are facing. Not to discourage anybody, but for us to also have ways, to also learn ways through which we can actually navigate around these and go through them. Then you have a machinery operation and technological risk. This is even, first of all, awareness of this the availability of these technologies, and how to even operate the machinery in the first place.
Yeah.
Because we'll still come to farm accidents where you find a lot of accidents as a result of a lack of knowledge
on how to use
on how to use these agricultural machines. Then another very important one is injuries from animals.
The farm?
Yes, in the farm. You can, when we're talking about farm, we're not just talking about crop farms.
Exactly.
We are talking about both crop and animal farms, and even storage farms.
Okay.
There are and even processing farms. So we're talking about farming in general, because there are lots of things that are associated to it.
Okay.
There are, when you talk about these animal injuries from animal, they range from both stings from bees, from scorpions, to bites from snakes, to animal kicks, to animal attack with horns, to a lot of it.
Even death, because I think I saw one time, did you see the video where the guy was rearing like a lion or something, and then he got killed by that?
You know that a lot of people, especially in some countries, they have decided to domesticate the wild so much that they still fail to realize that those wilds, they still remain wild to an extent. People having snakes as pets. People having lions, lionesses, tigers as pets. You see them running around with them, and I wonder really what, because I am in the field, I may not say so much about it in a negative, because that's what they want to do. But when you look at the risks that are associated to all those, you will understand what we're talking about. There are people who have gone to the farms, kept even their children, and they had monkey attacks on these children. The monkey can even decide to carry the child away. So there are so many risks in agriculture. Are you now talking about issues of pollution, issues of chemical use, the challenges resulting from them, both from soil fumigation to pesticides, herbicides, and other risk, other protection, other chemicals that are also used in animal protection. There are some you spray on the bodies of animals
to prevent lice.
Exactly. And all these things pose their own challenges in terms of both pollution and to the people that operate those things, because they may inhale some of these chemicals which may affect them in one way or the other, both short period and long period. Some go as bad as organ damage in the body. Then there have been different speculations about it even leading to cancer to an extent, but you can only say the one you physically can see. Then when we start talking about sustainability risk in agriculture, you understand that we have so much exploited nature, in which our ecology is paying for it. These climate change issues you've been hearing about, they are not far from it, and the rate through which these things that we exploit regenerate may not be as fast as we exploit them. Now, you can see the rate of deforestation, for instance, that is going on in this country.
Terribly so.
And this deforestation has done a lot harm to us. See the rate of desert encroachment in this country. you will not only in this country, in many other countries, but
Yeah.
we are talking about us here because we are directly affected here.
Yeah.
And desert encroachment does a lot bad to us. Okay, and look at the rate of animals migrating from one place to the other. Many of them are going extinct.
Yes.
Some animals you see now, you may not, that you were seeing before, you may not even be seeing them now. Some animals that help in decomposition, for example, vulture, for instance, is an important animal.
Yeah.
But this period, you even hardly see it.
Do they even have it in this part of the world? Because it's true. Some people have had, speculations that it's a mystical, or is it, how do you call it? Myth. Is a myth,
yeah. But vultures existed. They still exist in some parts. When I was a lot younger, I saw a lot of it. A lot of it.
Oh, wow.
Yes. But these days, you even hardly see them.
Anywhere.
Where they in some abattoirs, where they kill animals. You used to see them then, but now a lot of other animals, some other animals have taken over, like the cattle egrets. They have
Those white ones.
the white ones.
I wonder why they follow only the cattle.
They actually follow animals in the Bovidae family. That is not only cattle, the buffalo, that is the bubalus, bubalis, as they are usually called in those days. They also follow some goat, ram species. Most of them, yes, they do. That one is on the part of sustainability and ecology.
Okay.
There are also other risks, policy risks. Sometimes you find out that some policies may be counterproductive to what where you're going, the trajectory the country is following. Sometimes you will even see some policy somersaults in the country. Another government will come, bring one interesting policy, another one will come.
Turn that.
Exactly. From the beginning, from the military administration, it has been like that. For instance, the last administration had a very interesting
interest.
Yes.
In agriculture.
Exactly. They brought out this anchor borrowers program, but it was somehow later it was halted because of some challenges that it had. Okay. This new administration, we are still monitoring closely to understand their trajectory in terms of agriculture. Especially now that we are passing through serious food crisis in the country. Because when you go to the market, you will understand what I am talking about. A lot of people have been crying in the country now, and this is the time we are going to actually delve into agriculture. In our houses, any tiny farm, any tiny land, any small piece of land that anyone has, now the person should make maximum and most judicious use of it, because what you are going to produce from that farm, that tiny farm you are thinking about, it can feed you. You'll be surprised. It can feed you, feed your family, feed people around you. Even in your compound, you can even put some bags of cement and farm into it, produce things from it. Even if it's your vegetable, people produce as much as yam.
Yes.
Corn.
I think so. Was that you who said that? Someone said they farm yam.
Yes.
In bags.
In bags. Those things, you see a lot of it. Even in my house, I have it in my house. Where you have small section where you plant all those things. And you get small food from it here and there. You don't know what that saves you. You also have other risks. For instance, security risk in this country. Security is a major challenge when you come to agriculture in this country. Okay? Not only in agriculture is it a risk for, in every other occupation.
Okay.
But because agriculture is what you do in majorly in hinterlands, in more of rural areas,
Okay.
that the population is not really much. It
Mhm.
poses a great poses serious danger to
Okay.
the farmers there. And the in the recent past, in recent past, even till now,
Mhm.
this security issue has been a major cause of
Challenge.
concern
Okay.
in this country. You see people in their farms, some people will go there and butcher them. It's a very major challenge. And because of that, you see people running away from agriculture, people who ordinarily would want to produce, would want to go into farming,
Mhm.
especially our teeming youths, our young ones
Yeah.
who love agriculture, who have seen what agriculture has done. They can't even go to farm because of these security challenges.
Mhm.
For instance, I was in a conference sometime last year where poultry farmers in Nigeria were complaining about the non-availability of raw materials, especially corn,
Okay.
that they will use to formulate their feeds.
Okay.
Some people want to go into backward integration, to go and farm the corn themselves, but they can't even enter the farms to
Do that.
exactly. Then we've mentioned input management
Yeah.
before, but are these inputs available?
Okay.
Now you can see a lot of people have been talking about GMOs, the genetically modified.
That's. I mean, we were even going to, delve into that extensively because
Exactly.
I think it's one of the reasons people feel afraid to buy things these days.
Mm.
You hear people say, "I can't eat fruits these days because I don't know what I'm buying." I personally, I wanted to have mangoes the other day,
Mm.
and when I went to this market to get the mangoes, it looked completely different from what I know.
Yeah.
It's clean. It looks very enticing, but you could tell that this is not something that is gotten naturally.
Naturally, yeah, because these GMOs, the genetically modified organisms, that's what you call them in their general language.
Mhm.
If they eventually kick out our organic food, we are the ones that will suffer it,
Exactly.
whether we like it or not. Organic food are organic food. I, for one, I am never an advocate of genetically modified crops
Yeah.
because I don't intend to demarket anyone, but what is organic is organic. You are a human being. You are an organic being.
Exactly.
And you need to eat those organic foods. Now again, one of the challenges of these modified organisms, modified crops, is that when they enter into a human, some part of it tend to even modify the certain or react with certain things about the body.
Yeah.
Then again, many of them don't even have seeds for you to replant. When some of them that have seeds, when you replant in the first and second filial generation, they tend to segregate. Maybe you may not understand, it's a bit technical.
Please explain to us.
For instance, when you produce some hybrid of crops,
Yeah.
modify some things in them. When you have seeds, the seeds that come from them,
Yeah.
by the time you replant them, they tend to segregate back into the previous thing
What they used to be. Okay.
which you tried to improve on.
Mm.
Some will even give you a totally different thing from what you are expecting. Again, the soil which you plant those genetically modified crops on,
It's different.
it also affects the crop. That before you reclaim that crop that the soil back to even plant the organic crops there,
Yeah.
it will take some time.
Because you had a lot of chemicals, right?
Apart from the chemicals, it has a way of distorting the soil texture.
Okay.
Okay, this is one of it. I don't want to talk too much about the GMOs, but at least just to have an idea
A bit of
about
understanding.
the risks of these
GMOs.
inputs. Then, when you now talk about health and safety in agriculture, it encompasses a lot of things. The health and safety goes up. Is it in terms of fire attack in the farm? Is it ergonomic risk factors in farm practices? There are lots of things to talk about health and safety. Things that that happen to people in farm. Okay, then we'll still come back to this ergonomics.
Okay.
Right? Then there are also risk of disease management,
Okay.
both crop diseases and animal diseases.
Okay, so before we continue, I'm seeing that a couple of people would want to engage in the conversation
Okay.
as well. So we might take a few calls and then we keep up the conversation.
That's fine.
Hello.
Hello, good morning, Martha, and good morning to our guest.
Good morning, Salasi. How are you doing today?
My name is Salasi. I want to sincerely appreciate you so much. I so much love agriculture. You know, from the beginning, from the creation of this earth, God put Adam in order to till the ground, in order to farm it. Even his two children, Cain and Abel, were both farmers. Cain was in cattle, while Abel was in building the ground. So now we need to understand. In fact, with the explanation of our guest, I really appreciate. He talked of a lot of risks. Most especially when it comes to this aspect of getting this loan. The people that are supposed to get this loan doesn't get. The people, the farmers, the rural areas that's supposed to get this money, they don't have this money. That is another factor. And another factor that is make mention and which sweet my mind is that about the insecurity. Do you remember the 47 farmers in Borno? Simply because they expose the security, they expose insecurity. What happened to them? They were tied, hand down, and slaughtered by these criminals, by these bandits. As I'm speaking to you in my community in Kaduna, my community is a farming community. They make money a lot during irrigation. In fact, every week they know how many bags of pepper, tomatoes they take to the market. As I'm speaking to you now, that community is deserted. Most of the people have run away. They can't go to their farm anymore. So when I talk of insecurity, some people feel as if I'm against the government. No, I have faced it. I have lost family member. I have paid ransom, not once, not twice. So these are the major risks in this aspect. And we talk of God. Yes, I have been to God. See, in the whole 36 states, no state that I have never been to. I have been there, every good land that we have in this country. But these are the part of the major factors. Let me allow other people to contribute. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Salasi, for that contribution there. Anything you have to say about his contribution?
Well, we mentioned facility fungibility earlier, where people who don't even need these loans and credit facilities access them, while people who actually need them don't even access. You see, there are some in some programs where you see people, even barrow pushers, shoemaker, mechanic, that don't even have anything to do with agriculture. They'll give them loan from behind, collect it, and use it for other things.
Other things.
Yes, good morning.
All right. Good morning. Good morning to you. Welcome.
Yes, my name is Barry Hassan. I'm calling from airport too.
All right.
I greet your guest in studio. You are speaking very well.
All right. It's good to have
I
you.
think one of the most prevalent problem in agriculture is that the next generation of farmers, namely the youth, are no more interested in farming. They are not even interested in farming totally. Understand? The youth are not interested in farming. And this is due to a variety of reasons. The foremost of which is the prevalence of obsolete and archaic equipment such as cutlasses, hoes, and all that, as opposed to tractors, harvesters, the push cylinder we have in advanced countries. And of course, secondly, there is a sense of a transparent, productive agricultural loan and grant system. You see, the truth is that, and it's a very sad situation, the Nigerians who are actually into agriculture cannot access agricultural funds. People, business people who just definitely use the money that access this fund. It's very bad. Then the insecurity factor that the object has mentioned, Mr. Sulaki has also mentioned, has also deterred the farmers from going to the farms. So in this regard, I humbly suggest the formation of agro-allied vigilante groups, who work with the security forces to take care of, to protect the farmers. Then the absence of storage facilities. You see, in core agricultural areas, I'm talking about Benue. When you go to Benue, you see fruits rotting on the road because they have no storage facilities. Understand? Wastage of agriculture is not right, and it's difficult to transport the harvest of these farmers, hardworking farmers, to the urban centers. So, in the absence of an effective agricultural insurance scheme, the farmers do not have the confidence to expand their present scope of farming. They are afraid to go for that and what they can contain in terms of wastages. So we need an agricultural revolution. And I know it can be done.
All right.
It will be done. And with the grace of God, we shall succeed. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for that contribution. He talked about agricultural revolution. Well, it seems that you're appealing to the ears of most of the listeners today. Hello, good morning to you. Hello, good morning. All right. I guess there's a problem with the network. Please check your network settings and ensure that you are a part of the conversation as much as possible. Hello, good morning to you. What is going on? All right, 09073530044 or 09087668888. You can leave us a message on WhatsApp letting us know what your thoughts are, what your contributions will be on 09097054450. We have someone here say people eat vultures and sell them in the name of roasted chicken. That is why we hardly see them these days. I hope I'm not eating a vulture in the name of eating barbecue. Oh no, in the name of eating barbecue chicken. Hello, good morning to you. Hello, are you there? What's going on? I think the network is pretty bad today, but let's just go on and hopefully.
Okay. I want to respond to our last caller. Okay. In terms of young people going into farming. Okay. Some time ago during our in the course of this program, I mentioned about using the perception of these young people with respect to agriculture. Some people see agriculture as a very tedious thing to do that they can't even use their body and go into that farm. That you can't just
it's a thing for the poor.
For some set of people. But I will tell you that if our presidents in this country have farms, it means that there are things in the farm.
Exactly.
Our rich people in this country, if they have farms, that means there are things they are getting from it.
All right. Let's see who we have here. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Madam.
Yeah, welcome and thanks for joining us on the show.
My name is Abubakar calling you from.
All right, it's good to have you join us. Let's hear you.
Thank you. Until we achieve food revolution, until we attain food security, know that we shall never do development. We will not attain economic growth in this country. People today with the current food inflation, people don't think of making investment, not saving. There's no saving for majority of Nigeria. It is how to cope with escalating prices of goods and service. If we acquire technology, mechanized agriculture, we shall produce food items in surplus. We will export to some countries of the world. And that is the only way. Government still give services to agriculture. They are not interested. They have been overwhelmed by oil wealth, and which is not being shared accordingly. It is the ruling class that corner the oil wealth. They collect the foreign loan and transfer the burden to the enrolled. It's unfortunate. But with agriculture, you can rear a cow, you can rear sheep, you can rear different kind of livestock. They will pay you back better. But with cases of insecurity, that is another case. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abubakar, for that contribution there. Let's keep up with this conversation. We have very few minutes, and I'm guessing we'll have to bring Chris Nwachukwu back to the studio because I think there's so much that he has to share, and we have very limited time. But let's go on to see how much we can cover.
Well, anyway, I always like to share this knowledge.
All right, that's nice.
Someone mentioned about obsolete equipment.
Yes.
The truth is this. If you want a tractor that has an air conditioner, you can get it.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Now, there are some other tools that are ergonomically friendly.
Okay. What do you mean
ergonomics is a way of putting the work in a way that it will suit the person working, the farmer.
Okay.
For instance, if you are a left-handed person and you go to use tools meant for a right-handed person, it is not an ergonomically friendly act, and it can lead to injuries.
Okay.
There are some machinery that when you use them, you realize that they are state-of-the-art facilities to use. Okay. However, we don't have a lot of them here. You still see in some large farms, but rurally, people still go through the very tedious, drudgery-prone agricultural methods of the old, where they still use whole crude implements, farms, cutlasses, and all that. But when you go to some developed societies, some developed countries, you find out that all these things, they have gone beyond that. Recently, one of the states, neighboring states, brought in several tractors for their farmers. Okay, and these are good steps in the right direction, where an average farmer will not kill himself in the farm trying to produce very little. Where those machinery can be, one single tractor can produce what over 100 people cannot. What 100 people can produce in 1 week, one tractor may do. These things are, and there are equipment for pre-planting, for harrowing, for plowing, for planting, for harvesting. There are coupled implements to these tractors that they can do anything that you really want them to do, not just going very crude. Then with these, our young ones can participate.
A lot more enticing.
Exactly. And the previous impression we had about agriculture, about it being a punitive way of life. If you offend your elder or in school or somewhere, they will give you hoe or cutlass to go and
dig your eyes.
Exactly. But if you somebody who takes first position in class and you give the person a land to cultivate, and if the person gets whatever the person cultivates from it becomes his own, he will take food home, he will take the produce to the market and sell, and the money will help him pay his school fees in the next session. You see people want to take that first position so that they can be given land both in school and in other places to.
So you're using one stone to kill two
exactly.
birds.
Then this insecurity, we have overflogged it. If they want to work on it, they will work on it. Then on sustainability, if we we don't have to exhaust everything now, so that the future generation can also have what to do. Because somebody mentioned about sustainability. Then, in terms of, somebody mentioned when you're going through Benue, you see fruit spoiling on the road. Now, there are solutions to these. We will still come to the solutions to all of these. We have brought out the challenges. We have not even exhausted the challenges. But there are solutions. There are insurance solutions to this. There are different types of insurance policies that you can take against these things I have mentioned, which will, for the want of time, maybe next time when we'll come, we'll talk about it. Then, in terms of logistics, there are some countries where trucks that are carrying agricultural produce, you don't arrest it on the road. Even if it has committed an offense, you follow it to the last destination. Then you can, once they have offloaded it, you can now arrest the truck, so that you reduce these wastages. Because, for instance, our tomatoes, more than 50% of it waste along the line.
Yes.
These things are perishable. Those countries, if you arrest a vehicle carrying agricultural commodity, you will be in trouble for it.
And guess what? We are in this whole tomato crisis right now.
Exactly.
Where even the spoiled tomatoes are so expensive.
Exactly.
You'd get like a basket of tomatoes counting about 20 or even 20 or slightly more for 5,000 naira now.
Yes.
Because at the time when we have it in large quantities, because I hear that the rain affects, the production of tomatoes as well. At the time when we have enough of it, instead of us to preserve it at that time, we now let them perish until, when it's time to now have tomatoes, rain is falling, we know we cannot plant these things anymore. We now start running all up and about, complaining about, why it is so expensive, why it is unavailable. It's crazy. So I think, it's the right approach. Like you said, we need to find the right policies. We need to look out for the right approach towards agriculture. Because if we keep hammering on the problems, like you said, insecurity is a problem. And if it wants to be resolved, it will be resolved. But if we keep hammering on these problems without looking at ways that we also can contribute to solving it, we will remain at the same point for a very long time.
Of course, definitely. We have talked about a lot of problems today. What we want to also see is the solution to these problems. And for the want of time, maybe next time when you invite me, we'll talk about solutions to these problems, because there are many solutions, just as there are many problems. We've not even exhausted the problems. We are just in the risks. If you start engaging these risks one after the other, the animal challenges alone can take us two meetings here to discuss. Okay, so we'll go gradually into it. If I have the opportunity to come again
next week, of course. If next week is fine, we'll definitely continue this conversation that we had. But right, guys, if you're just joining us in the studio, well, let me tell you, you have missed. But good news, you can catch up with all the episodes again across all our social media platforms. I have been hanging out with Chris Nwachukwu, PhD in View, HFCI, LRMN, CRM, ARMSN, and a whole lot of other things, choked up in this portfolio. So definitely you're speaking with someone who understands what agriculture is, and I'd advise you to take his word for it. He's also the country head, Agric Insurance, KPL Insurance Limited, and the branch manager, Abuja Branch 2, right? So many things about him. He's an agricultural consultant. So, of course, he'll be talking to us eventually about general insurance, life insurance, that's assurance, agric insurance, risk management when it comes to agriculture.